Okay, let's try this again. Test, 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 test. Why is it not listening? Okay, let's try this again. Test. There we go. Test. It's actually working now. Test. Why is it not listening? Okay, let's try this again. Test. There we go. Test. It's actually working now. Okay. And what we're gonna do, go ahead and link that to everybody else, so that way what you have to do to start your channel here, very difficult sometimes. Think. Alright, Kaworu blank, boom. So, what are we going to be talking about tonight? I'm going to wait for people to get in. And basically, if you're in, go ahead, give me a message telling me you already see the links, see what I'm going to be talking about tonight. One of the big things to be talking about is going to be academia, Donald Trump, and then on top of that, we're going to be talking about the resurgence of class struggle. That's going to be over at WSWS, something to really look into. Now, the reason that I'm talking about Trump is because today he decided to back out of a meeting. Comrade Horst, you are just in time. I just started like a few minutes ago. So, welcome back, brother. Welcome back, comrade. So, for the most part, if you all have something that you all want me to look into, feel free to give me a message, an email, or anything like that. And if you all ever want me to sit here and talk about something, or if it's not being covered in bunker bants or anything like that, I mean, feel free to give me something right over here too. I mean, I'm more than happy to sit here and start up a stream every night for you all if that's what you're looking into. I mean, especially if you all need something to talk about. Another thing, I mean, I know I do these things, say, separately right now, you know, just kind of like on my own, but if you all want to be a part of the stream in any way, shape, or form, if I can ever figure out how in the flying to do it, I'll say you all can be joining in on the stream. I mean, that's no problem with me. So if you all want to talk about it, feel free, let me know, and I'll figure it out so that way more people can sit here and be a part of it. The only reason that I do this like this is because it's a lot easier, because I can just sit here, start up OBS, and get a few images, and bada boom, bada bing, we're done. We're off into the running races. So if you all want to be a part of it, let me know. If you all feel like you all want to sit here and see some articles, talk about anything, let me know in the chat room. For the most part, I think I have the chat room set up. Nope, no bad words or nothing. So, what are we going to be talking about tonight? Well, I've been kind of salty about this whole Milo protest, but we're going to start from the beginning and talk about this whole Donald Trump against Bernie Sanders. Now, some context on this. Donald Trump said on the Jimmy Kimmel show, hey, I'd love to sit here and debate Bernie Sanders. What's been going on is the fact that he sat here and said that, and just almost immediately Bernie Sanders said, hey, look, let's get this together. Since Hillary Clinton backed down, I'm glad that you're going to sit here and you're going to debate me. Now, this isn't the first time that Bernie Sanders has sat here and said he'll talk to Trump and basically, you know, talk to him about policy issues and everything else. He was trying to do that during everything, early in the primaries, but unfortunately he was stopped by Debbie Wasserman Schultz because that would make Hillary Clinton look bad. And when he sat here, he jumped on Donald Trump's case about the pay of minimum wage. What would happen is they'd be like, well, No, I don't want to do that. Well, think about it for a second. The fact of the matter is, Donald Trump doesn't know much about policy. He's a businessman. Him going against Hillary Clinton has to work for him and has done that in the past. I mean, one of the things that I just recently learned, if you ever look into H.A. Goodman, what he was talking about is the fact that Hillary Clinton has taken money from him, just as she took jewelry from Saudi Arabia. And of course, as Comrade Horace is saying, Trump is getting roasted on Twitter for running. And he should be. Because I don't think any conservative is afraid of socialism in that context. And most of the things that Bernie Sanders is proposing benefits conservatives as well. And those were the things that Donald Trump was sitting here running towards. But then he sits here and pulls out some PC bullshit. And what do I mean by that? The fact of the matter is, he sat here and said, oh, it would be inappropriate if he went against the second runner-up. So if you are going to sit here and say that Bernie Sanders, one of the most popular people, that's the most trustworthy out of everybody, is like a second runner-up based on what? Nothing. Except the facts of the case is he's had electoral fraud and he's still doing so much that is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, in terms of all the electoral fraud, all of the things that Bernie Sanders has had to go through, he's still sitting here and has a lot of popularity with a lot of people that basically has essentially made him pretty damn popular with most people, particularly when I do have my own criticisms of him, but we'll leave that for another day. So, all I can say is Donald Trump, he's pretty much a chicken shit. He's been exposed to be that much of a chicken shit. He's going after Hillary Clinton because she's easier, but he will not sit here and talk about Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders just has his number. He can sit here and hit him on being a billionaire. He can hit him on how does he sit here and do Trump University. He can sit here and hit him on Trump steaks. They can hit him so many different ways. It's just ridiculous. And then he can give zero fucks about sitting here and seeing Donald Trump. So that's exactly why, for the most part, these people that are supporting Trump, they're supporting like all this style and substance. That all went away as soon as the fact that he backed out of this. Two places sat here and said, hey, yo, we'll help patrol this debate. What's going on, Cameron Moore? And for the most part, Trump sat here and basically loses out to everything. Kaworu. Sorry, I'm part Japanese here. So kaworu. That's how I can say it. I mean, if you want me to speak Japanese, I can do that one too. But anyway, to just kind of close this out, Trump ran. Bernie Sanders is still on top, and for the most part, he just sucks. How's it going, David? W is silent these days, fam. And kaoru. Oh, kaoru. Okay, I'll try it. All right. So the next one that I'm talking about, the fight for academia. Now, this is something that was on Lefty Poll a while, and this is basically from the daughter of, what is his name? I just blanked out on his name. I'm gonna have to actually look at this doggone thing. Aviva Chomsky. And if you all have been looking at the surgence of academic scholarship or student activism that's been going on, we're basically going back over the 1970s, essentially. The reason being is that our academia is not up to par for a number of reasons. It's been decimated. It's been hollowed out. We have identity politics in academia. We have a right wing that is surfacing, getting back its strength. We have a left wing that's been decimated. We have a whole bunch of identity politics. These are all things that people are trying to debate and trying to figure out what in the world to do, while on top of all this debate, this fight that's going on in Seattle, it's going on in Texas, it's going on everywhere. The problem is our system is not working, and it's starting to sit here and split up everybody else. So even on college campuses, we're having a lot of these splits that are going left, right, left wing, right wing. People are fighting because the way things worked, they are no longer working now. So I want to sit here and stress this. The fact is, with academia, you're going to get these fights. What worked in the past is no longer working now. The ideas of corporate feminism sat here and invaded. That was a form of cultural imperialism. That's something that's got to be debated and discussed. So we have also the conservative groups and what's going on with them. I mean, our academia is really not up to par. And unless you're trying to spend millions to go to college at Harvard, Yale, or something like that, you're really not going to get a really good education. And especially with what's going on with, minorities, black people, Latinos, dreamers, everybody. This is essentially becoming one of those places that's the testing ground of revolutionary struggle, and it's about to be one of those things that is just going to keep heating up until we finally fight it. Now, Cameron Moore says cultural imperialism is the standard these days, and unfortunately that's true, because people have been losing their democracy for the last 40 years. This actually ties into my next argument, that is, and I unfortunately missed it, but I was actually trying to fight or talk about, say, this protest that's been going on with regards to Milo Yiannopoulos. Now, a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on this, but for me, I'm a little salty because he's doing this in Chicago. He's talking about a place where, he's very, very reactionary on Twitter, and he's very, very reactionary in his politics. But if you look at the article, it talks about how, for me personally, I didn't like him ever since he had this tweet about how he supports Margaret Thatcher. He has his good points, such as liking Mariah Carey, but for me personally, I can't stand his politics. Now, I know a little bit about the UK. Comrade Horace, go ahead, take care of your internet and everything else. We'll be here, and I'll make sure to tell you anything that you want to know when you come back. But in terms of the academic protests, this is in Chicago. I have family in Chicago. That motherfucker sits here and calls himself a quote-unquote dangerous faggot. I can't stand Thatcher, David, Thatcher was a bitch. And in terms of what she did to the mine workers and her neoliberal politics, I can't stand it to this day. So don't get me started on her. But for the most part, when I look into what she did, I can't stand her, and that's why some of that transfers to Milo. He really truly sits here and pushes for UKIP in the UK. Now, recently, as I've come to understand it, UKIP got screwed in the latest election. In terms of getting screwed, the Conservative Party sat here and did some kind of battle bus that was not supposed to be happening. This essentially was against the rules, but Cameron and the Conservative Party didn't care. They wanted to keep the party unified under the Conservatives and not have everything go with UKIP when they were on the come up. This is supposed to be getting a lot larger. I don't know if this is going to be on the BBC, but Okay, I'm getting from someone who's in UK, David. Tories lost London. UKIP did quite well in Wales, to be honest. Yeah, but there were some places that were conservative owned, and I think that was on the mainland, but I can't recall the story all the way. But what was happening is they were using these buses in local elections when it was barred by the rules. There was a cap on local elections, to my knowledge. I don't know everything about UK politics, but as someone told me, they were using these buses to wheel people to get out the vote and undermine UKIP, and they didn't care about legality. They wanted to win. And so that undermined UKIP, but that has caused problems now. I mean, it's not just the fact that, Cameron is also weak with the Panama paper leaks, but there's also some other things that are going on in terms of, like, you know, basically, I don't know everything about it, but the point is, Conservative Party is looking very weak, and Jeremy Corbyn could win this. And on top of that, you add the fact that UKIP is keeping them hammered on the right. They're getting that pincer, and that's basically my point. So that's what's happening in the UK, and of course, Milo sits here and wants to sit here and apologize for those type of people. He apologizes for the far right wing. I can't stand their politics. So it's undermining the right wing in general. I think Corbyn is going from strength to strength, always bringing up issues that matter to people. David Cameron is always going on about irrelevant things, and that's my point. Like, the right wing doesn't win on the issues, they win on emotion. And Milo does the same thing. Like, for example, he's in Chicago. My family's in Chicago. In terms of being pretty goddamn poor, that's exactly what I have to, that's one of those things where poverty is just all over. In terms of how fucked is Chicago, or how bad is it, look at Puerto Rico, and Chicago is not that far off. We have Rahm Emanuel, who basically decimated it. You have the whole issue of Laquan McDonald, where the kid was shot 16 times by a police officer, and it was covered up for a full year. So when Milo sits here and talks about Blue Lives Matter, he's sitting here and directly slapping every last person, minority there, in the face, because Chicago is one of the roughest, toughest places, and you're telling me you're a dangerous faggot. Okay, not only are you coming from the UK to sit here and try to talk to people over here who have a very different understanding of the politics that are around, but you're sitting here telling them, why the hell should I be talking to these people? It's ridiculous. So when he's sitting here and he does this, he's very, very insensitive to how these people run and operate and everything. And it just makes it worse and worse. So they stood up to him, and they pretty much got him the hell out of there, because there's really nothing that he could do in terms of actual politics and policies. So he left. I know the media sat here and certainly turned it into a Donald Trump rally, which they shouldn't have done, but basically they didn't have a lot of support there. The conservatives did not have a lot of support in Chicago. This is the same place that sat here and they've been protesting the Chicago tortures. They've been protesting Rahm Emanuel. They've been protesting Donald Trump, like, what was that, March, something like that. So they've just been protesting, and they've still been protesting and maintaining the streets, and they've been having a lot of success in Chicago. So I knew damn well that Milo was going to show himself not to be a very dangerous faggot, because if you haven't been on the nine, or your family has never been there, you don't have any reason to be there yourself. And most of those kids have seen some crazier shit than some stupid idiot with some blonde hair thinking that he's going to sit here and run them out of their damn place, or sit here and want to debate when he's acting like a damn fascist. So, for me, I'm really heated about that. That one's a little bit personal for me. Milo should not have been there. That my view on it. And I'm glad that they ran his happy ass out of there. But I know a lot of people are sitting here saying, well, they shouted him down and all this other stuff. Well, motherfucker, you supposed to be a dangerous faggot. You supposed to be able to sit here and take care of yourself, handle your business, and sit here and talk to these people like you got some damn sense. He doesn't sit here and do that. He sits here and demagogues a hell of a lot. So that's the point that I'm trying to make. Milo's an idiot. Holy shit. Blonde-haired faggot with a weird face. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna go that far, but I'm just mainly focused on his politics. I mean, he undermines his own arguments half the time. That's why I sat here and I'm quoting him as calling himself a dangerous faggot. He's supposed to be a dangerous faggot on a tour. How can you be a dangerous faggot if you get shouted down by a whole bunch of black people, and then you have to sit here and be so triggered? This is literally what he did. He wrote a review of, DePaul University. That's exactly where it was. And basically, he's like, yay, I got a teacher fired. Okay. The teacher resigned or something, and he took that as a victory for himself. What the fuck ever. You got run out of that place. You not so dangerous, and you not so tough if you can't sit here and say anything to these people to sit here and show how quote unquote dangerous you are. And then you're so damn insensitive that you basically sit here and tell them blue lives matter, when the fact of the matter is you're the basic one that sat here and baited this whole entire process. There could have been an academic debate, sit here and talk to them about what was going on and how the UK was different or anything like that. But instead, he just has a few conservatives, a whole bunch of people actually protested him, and what does he do? He takes it like a little bitch. So I don't have much to say on that except that, and I'm just gonna move on, because I mean, that one was just infuriating and personal for me. So I'm glad that he got ran out, and I'll leave it at that. So what was the point of talking about academia and everything? The fact is, you're seeing a resurgence of class struggle. This is the last one. It's going to WSWS.org, talking about resurgence of class conflict in the United States. It never went away, first of all. It's just a lot more people are becoming class conscious. And when I say they're becoming class conscious, you're seeing a lot more students that are protesting the administration. The administration is seeing that their power is not quite there. And you're seeing a lot of people that are looking into what can we do that is far different than what we've done before, because what we've been doing hasn't been working. Now in Seattle, you're having protests and sit-ins. In I know Texas, they're having a lot of protests the same way or similar manners. We're having a lot of students that are saying enough is enough. We want to do something that's different. And some of this is galvanized by Bernie Sanders, as well as Jill Stein, as well as the whole political structure, because we got to fight out what our ideals going to be. So when I look at it personally, people are doing strikes such as Verizon in New York. And from what I've heard on Jacobin, And I'm not going to put it down in the underbar, but you all can look at it if you go to Jacobin. But basically, with Jacobin, what they're saying is you can actually, they actually were pretty successful with their strike. And on top of that, I do know that the Philippines was having success with Verizon and their strike. So one thing that I always sit here and recommend, always look to see who your allies are internationally. That is always something that you really need to do. Socialism is about internationalism for the most part. That's where we get our success, and that's where we get the capitalists to sit here and start running scared. Because if they can sit here and run to another country and undermine you, they're going to do it. That's exactly what they've done for the last 40 years. If you want to sit here and have co-ops, you want to have credit unions, you want to have things that sit here and work for the mass of people, you have to sit here and make sure that everybody and every worker is on the same page. This is what class struggle is all about. Now, I am very, very critical of anarchists on this issue because the fact is some of it seems to be too individualistic. I do have to do a criticism of Crime Think Inc. pretty soon, and that's probably going to be after I do a review of Gerald Horne and show that video or do the book report on that, because I've been reading Counter Revolution of 1776. But for the most part, in terms of class struggle, I mean, I want people to understand, I mean, with liberalism or neoliberalism, however you want to say it, showing that people are polarizing to left-wing socialism or democratic socialism and right-wing populism for to the eventual fascism, we're seeing the death of the United States two-party system. I would not be surprised, honestly, if in the near future there is the growth of a third party, both left and right wing. So for the right wing, I mean, the GOP this year is turning into the white nationalist party. But I think there's going to be a third party from the right wing if Mitt Romney creates one. On top of that, you have the progressives with Bernie Sanders, whereas Hillary Clinton is trying to do corporate America. I don't think I've talked about that much, but the fact of the matter is, with corporate America giving her so much money, you're seeing that there is going to be this eventual split from the electoral system that's been holding us all hostage for the last 400 years. So that's something to really think about, and that's really something to put into place, that American progressives as well as American people really need to sit here and look into class struggle. So that's my rant for tonight. I'm gonna ask anybody's interested in any questions or anything like that. Have anything that you want me to talk about? Let's see. Well, could I answer, how did Trump get so popular? Well, main way he got popular is the fact that he pretty much, how did he get popular? Well, pretty much the liberal media actually created him. And they created him for Hillary Clinton to face off against. And right now, he's undermining his own problems. But not something that I really want to get too much into. Not, at least not tonight. I gotta actually do more study and research on that, especially about how Donald Trump. I haven't really been paying attention to him too much. I'd rather sit here and vote Jill Stein or Bernie Sanders, but I'm not gonna be voting for Hillary Clinton myself personally. So if anybody else is gonna do it, let me know. But I haven't seen a big reason why I want to vote for him or vote for the guy. But seems that everybody's gotten their questions answered. Seems like I talked to everybody about this thing. So, it's been 30 minutes. Alright, guys. Alright, I'll see you all next time. Take care.